okay, Newcastle United have lost 2-0 at home in the FA Cup quarter-final against Manchester City. And let's review the game. Less said about the first half, the better. From that opening whistle, Newcastle surrendered the initiative to Manchester City and therefore deserved to be behind 1-0 at half-time. The fact that Man City had so much possession and so many chances and was so wasteful is indicative of them and their performance, which wasn't great in the first half either. Yes, they had lots of the ball and they were passing it nicely in nice little triangles. But when you've got a team that's just going to sit there and park the bus, it's not a good advert for the sport. A sport that's been in lockdown and has had a lot of negative headlines before resuming. It wasn't a great game. There was no intensity from Newcastle for large periods in this game. They were happy just to sit there. And Andy Carroll had their only shot on target in the first half. And it was a well-taken chance. It was a good range shot. I mean, a bit of sting was taken out of it, but had he hit it with a bit more pace, Bravo might have struggled. But apart from that, it was all Man City. The penalty itself that De Bruyne scores, I don't know what Shah's doing. Newcastle defended very well up to that point with a very solid organised back five and a very solid deep-lying midfield, really choking Man City a little bit and forcing Man City to go to the wide areas to try and find space. And that's all well and good, but the push by Shah on Gabriel Jesus is stupid, unnecessary, but no one really appealed it. This is what's weird. There was no real reaction from Newcastle or Man City to he's dived or I've pushed it. You know, that kind of thing. No, Jesus doesn't throw his arms up in the air, doesn't react. The Newcastle players don't say. There's no reaction from. They seem stunned that the whistle's been blown and there's going to be a penalty. And De Bruyne slots a very good penalty on 36 minutes. Sends Darlow the wrong way. Apart from that, that first half was not the best first half. I'm going to be honest on that. I didn't think that first half was very entertaining at all. And yeah, you could say the lack of fans and the lack of atmosphere, but they play this fake crowd noise. I don't think that helped the spectacle. The second half was better. Newcastle decided to give it a little bit more of a go. They created a few more opportunities, but unfortunately, when Dwight Gale misses that point blank range effort, that sums up Newcastle right now. Otamendi is not a good defender. Let's be clear on that. And that misplaced pass, he does this regularly. The reason why that mistake happens is you're putting pressure on him. In the first half, he was allowed to get away with sloppy passes because there's no pressure on the ball. Newcastle changed their tactics, put pressure on the Man City back four, and they get a chance. And they cough it up. Within a couple of minutes, Sterling's gone down the other end from a long ball from Laporte to Foden to Sterling. Quick, back of the net, done, 2-0, game over. The fact, however, that it was only 2-0 is embarrassing in itself. The amount of wasted chances Man City had in this game, with the squad and quality of player they have, is embarrassing. Newcastle United weren't good enough today, and a lot of that blame has to lie with Steve Bruce and the way he set up in the first half. Had he set up how they played in the second half, they could have won the game. They could have given Man City a better challenge. They could have really pushed him. It could have gone to extra time. It could have been a high-scoring encounter. We know earlier in the season it was a 2-2 draw in the league at St James's Park, so Newcastle have proven that they can compete with Manchester City. And coming out of the lockdown, Newcastle have been playing decently. I was underwhelmed with the performance by both teams. Yes, Man City were the better side. They have the better calibre of player. They're a bit more flexible in their tactics. I think Newcastle, were too negative. They deserved to lose by not creating enough and not playing in a more aggressive fashion. They were too conservative in their defensive tactics in the first half, and in the second half it was too little too late when they've been running around aimlessly with Man City at some points in periods of the game having nearly 90% possession. You cannot win a football game with 10% possession. The facts do not lie. That's one of the stats that doesn't lie for you. You cannot win the game without the ball. And the handful of chances Newcastle created weren't enough. Man City, they could have scored more. And they didn't. So other teams will look at that and they will look at Otamendi as a weakness. Definitely. Kyle Walker sometimes was caught out of position as well. So that right-hand side of their defence is a weakness for Man City. If you can put pressure on that right-hand side of the defence, it does leak a little bit. And, other teams will be looking at that in the league and also in the FA Cup and the Champions League going forward as a weakness. Newcastle, we don't know what's going to happen with this takeover. I think that's a play in the back of the mind of a lot of players and Steve Bruce as well. But this was a golden opportunity for Newcastle today and, well, they let it slip by their really negative tactics in the first half. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts below. I'll have some more videos for you very, very soon. And goodbye for now.